Hi there, welcome to the RPS project. Today I'm going to have a look at a circuit I've looked at before. It's a little preamp circuit that I was doing. Where have I put it? Down here. This thing, and I had a look at it before. Well, I made it and I thought, oh, that's alright. And then more recently I had another look at this circuit and thought, well, it doesn't quite do what it should. So I had a in-depth look at the thing and modified it. I just sort of made it better, made it work like it should do. And then I was thinking, hey, well, how about modding it? How about changing it a little bit and doing something to the circuit? You know, I've been learning about op amps and buffers and stuff, and I thought, well, yeah, let's modify the circuit and see if I can make it work a bit better. So that's what I've been doing. I'll leave a link to the original video or videos, and you can have a look at what I did before and what I've been up to with this circuit. So yeah, let's have a look at what I'm going to be doing and hopefully see if I'm able to get anywhere with it. So on here we have the circuit I'm going to be doing, or I have been doing and have been fiddling with, and this is what I've got. So this is what I'm looking at now. Now on this circuit, previously I did not have these two op amps as buffers. I think I'm using an LM358, I think it is. You know, dual op amp package. Why not? It's got two in it, let's use both of them. But before they were there, of course, it would come out. There was a capacitor in here. I think there was a capacitor for going output there, but basically that was the circuit, and it seemed to work all right. I got it working quite well, I think, really, once I'd sorted out the biasing and that for the circuit to make sure that I got a good signal flow through the circuit. But I decided, well, I don't know what I'm connecting up on this end. It might have a different impedance to what I'm expecting. So I thought, well, let's put a buffer in there. I've been learning about op amps. A buffer, that'll be fine. You know, the output's not affected by the input. And I thought, well, let's go a little bit further and let's put the a buffer in here to separate the two stages, so that this first stage, which has quite a lot of gain on it, no current gain but a lot of voltage gain from a very, very small signal, I can buffer that, and then I can deal with it over here and then deal with it over here. And that seemed like a great idea. In practice, it doesn't seem to be going quite as well as I expected. So let's have a look at what I'm getting on the scope and see what it is doing now. Yeah, see what I think it's doing. Well, let's have a look and find out. Okay, so now I've got my scope on my circuit, and the first place I'm looking at is going to be actually, let me just turn the function generator off and just turn off channel 2. That is effectively my input, which is actually 10 millivolts, and you're thinking, well, that's small. Yeah, well, it's meant to be a microphone sort of input amplifier, so a signal from a microphone is usually pretty darn small, and I've got 10 millivolts, 10 millivolts coming in, and the scope is not really tracking it very well, partly because I've got the signal, I've got the trigger set on channel 2, so because that's just easier to see. So turn on channel 2. So I'm now looking at the point where, after my first stage of amplification, which is a common base amplifier, which actually seems to work quite well, really. You think, that's not too bad. 200 millivolts per division. So what have I got there? Let's have a quick look. It's a bit jumpy, isn't it? That's the trouble. It's twitchy. It's not stable. So it's not looking so good, even at the beginning. So amplification, we've got 400, 600, 800, 1 volt, 200, 400, 600, 800. It's about 1.8 volts, so it's less than 2 volts, but hey, it's not bad. That's quite a good amplification from 10 millivolts, isn't it? So yeah, looks brilliant. But then when I start to move forward, the next thing I'd put in was a buffer. So I'm just going to have a look, see if I can see what's going on with that. So into the buffer, and then we come out on pin 5, 6, 7, pin 7. So I can get that in there. And yeah, it's still working, but look at the mess of that. It really is getting messy, isn't it? It's just not stable. That's 500 millivolts, so yeah, it's not bad. It's fairly clean, you know, but it's definitely a bit messy. And yeah, I still think it's about that 1.8 sort of 2 volts, just under sort of range. So if I now move past the buffer onto the next stage, which actually is through the pot, because that's what I'd done. I put it in through the pot as my voltage control, and there it goes. And yeah, that still looks all right, doesn't it? Let me just try and move the pot. I bet this won't go smoothly. Oh yeah, it's not doing too bad, but it is definitely twitchy. So yeah, so far I think, well, it is sort of working. It's doing what I want. I'm not quite sure how stable it is. It looks a bit jittery and that. And then I got to move on to the next stage, which is basically a common is it common emitter with common collector? No, common emitter with an emitter follower afterwards. And this is where generally it starts to go wrong, because yeah, you can see that's now clipping off. So and then once I take it past that and I'm going, okay, let's take it to the actual buffer, the input of the output buffer, which is pin 3. Let's have a look. Yeah, you can see it's not going well. So I think basically what I've got to do now, really, with this circuit, is I need to look at this again, and I need to work out the biasing with those 2 buffers in the circuit, because without them I'd got the circuit working quite well, but with them it changes the dynamic of where my biasing needs to be. So I need to sit down and really work out how much gain I can get from this amplifier with those buffers in there, so that I get something sensible out. And output pin 1. Yeah, you know, it's sort of something, but not right. So yeah, modifying a circuit isn't always so straightforward. So there you have it. It didn't seem to work quite so well as I thought. I suppose the moral of the story there is that if you want to modify something, you better make sure you check the whole circuit, and that what you're doing is actually going to work with what you're trying to do. I mean, I suppose the thing is it probably will work, but I'll have to sit down and look at each stage of that amplifier and work out what the next stage is going to do to it before I build the whole thing, and just literally deconstruct it and then put it back together, making sure that each section, each part of it is doing what I want it to do. So I suppose a lot more work to be done on that before I get what I want. And never know, might even never get what I want. It might just not work. So yeah, lots of messing about, lots more to do on it. I suppose probably another video maybe at some point in the future once I sort out what I'm doing with it. But there you go, modding a circuit. Not as simple as it seems. And if you like this video, give me a thumbs up. If you didn't, you know what to do. Subscribe, and all comments are welcome. See you next time.